The 2022 sad housing paradox is upon us, and in this video we're going to talk a bit about the rich mentality way to best navigate it. I must sound off the, at this point, obvious and annoying disclaimer that no one can predict the future, the markets, or even the real estate one. I've been shocked lately by how many homes around me continue to be purchased, and it leaves me wondering if this is a sign of just how much worse a crash is going to be, or is it the obvious indicator that there is no crash upon us at all? The reason why it's called the sad housing paradox is because of quite a few analytics that I'm about to share with you. Welcome to Rich Mentality. If you're interested in improving your financial future, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this video is helpful. Zillow scrolling has most of us retreating to escape reality and into any social media scrolling. The US has come down with a case of the housing blues. Americans are either sad because they can't buy a house or sad because they did buy a house. Nearly 3 in 4 home buyers have at least one regret related to their recent home purchase. Meanwhile, wannabe buyers are being priced out. You might call it home buyer's remorse. The home buying experience over the last 2.5 years has been nothing short of extraordinary. But not all homeowners were satisfied with the process. Nearly 3 in 4 Americans have at least one regret about their home or the home buying process. According to a new survey from Anytime Estimate, a home buying website based on home buyer experiences throughout 2021 and 2022. Buyers are most remorseful about overpaying for a property, which 30% of Americans say they did. The median amount buyers paid over the original asking price on their new homes was $65,000, according to the survey. Homeowners are watching their net worth fall as soaring mortgage rates soften demand. Home prices dropped in July for the first time in 32 months as rates doubled from January. That number one regret is the overpaying. The median overpaid price of $65,000 for their new cribs. Meanwhile, wannabe buyers are far from their white picketed fence dreams because prices are still significantly elevated. The pandemic housing boom is to blame for that. Free-for-all vibes like the Squid Games means no one wins in this market. Prospective buyers lose. Home prices in June were 18% higher than a year earlier, a historically steep jump. Plus, mortgage rates are wild. Homeowners lose too. Home prices dipped 0.77% in July. That may sound negligible, however it's actually the largest monthly decline since 2011, which is shortly after the housing crisis of 2008. I'm not sure if that's an omen indicator or not. The housing price drop could get worse since the Fed is determined to unleash inflation-fighting pain, aka we will likely see continuous interest rate hikes. 275,000 mortgage holders would fall underwater if their homes lost 5% of their current value. Over 80% of those borrowers bought homes in the first half of this year, of 2022, which was the peak of the housing market boom in the US. For a little more insight on the housing market boom, let's look at how KB Homes was doing in January of 2021. Build me up were the chants of KB Homes clients. KB Home is kind of like the Chipotle of home building. Instead of build your own bowl, KB lets you build your own home. Guac's still a little extra. From September to November of 2020, KB's signed purchase contracts soared 42% to the highest Q4 total in 15 years. And more than half of the homes delivered went to first-time buyers. Life-size Barbie dream houses, and Jerome Powell is the Ken doll. The Fed has given us near zero interest rates to stimulate the economy up until 2022. Taking out a loan for a house was way cheaper during the pandemic than it was pre-pandemic. Mortgage rates notched more than a dozen record lows in 2020. Also, remote work is allowing people to leave the cities and flock to the suburbs. The number of homes for sale in the US fell to the lowest level on record in November 2020. That's great for KB, who's buying land and building homes to meet demand. The median sell price of a home rose above $300,000 for the first time in 2020. And in 2022, the median sell price of a home rose over $400,000. That's also good for KB, whose average selling price jumped. It's all about the backlog. Backlog homes are houses that have been ordered but not built yet. Basically, they represent future sales. KB had nearly 8,000 backlogged homes in Q4 of 2020, up by half from a year earlier. Even though KB sales were actually down, its backlog sales value jumped 60% to $3 billion. Since investors are future focused, KB stock had its biggest daily gain since May and January 2021, likely thanks to that sweet backlog. This precursor data is easy to see how we've got to where we are today, the 2022 sad housing paradox. I believe the key takeaway here is that it's a chill, but likely not a crash. Homeowners are way more cash flush now than they were when the housing market crashed in 2007. In the crash of 2008, prices plunged and millions owed more than their homes were worth. Mortgage leverage is lower than it was previously. Losing some paper value on a home won't harm most Americans. While housing inventory is rising at a record pace, home supply is still relatively tight, so prices likely won't crash. I think this is the main indicator, inventory levels. The rich mentality way to look at all this is actually very simple. Whether you purchased a home in 2019, 2020, 2021, this year, or plan to purchase one next year, that home purchase will be worth more in 10 years. End of story. It's the only thing you must tell yourself during any and all of the ebbs and flows of life and the markets. Could you wait a year and it be a better valued purchase than the current year? Well, absolutely it could. However, it also could not. Never beat yourself up about hindsight 2020, but you certainly should learn from it. Historically speaking, there has never been a 10-year rolling average where real estate did not increase in value. Check out some of my other videos for information on the other advantages to owning and holding on to real estate. Remember to stay tuned because with each video, the rich mentality will become more and more comfortable to you. Thanks for watching.